Sportsfeld. Happy December.
Hello.
We are. 'Tis the season for retrospectives and stuff.
Yeah, I find that it's hard to exactly explain, but this time of year has a very specific feel to it. And it's all based, I've realized it's all based on various retrospectives.
Totally.
Best of years, best of decades, whatever you want to call it.
And you spend time sitting at home and like not wishing to go outside. Sometimes in the summer or in nicer weather, when you're inside, there's like a guilt and I should be doing something. I should go outside. Where this time of year invites you to stay in and reflect on yourself.
That's true. I didn't think about it that way. But it's true. Like there's no desire to be like, I'm wasting time inside. It's like, no, it's cold. It sucks. Stay inside.
Going out there is the worst part of my day.
Yeah. Although it's all right today.
We have settled into, the immediate weather.
The immediate weather. You know how it goes.
I love it. If we didn't have it, I would miss it.
This show goes out live, basically.
I love it.
At least it's relevant still.
Couldn't possibly turn around faster. No, but that is actually true. We do have good people that
it's very well
put it up. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know why we had that tone. There's no reason.
That's fun.
Sports is sort of chugging along. We are sort of at that. Everyone's gotten past the opening week takes where you're seeing the team for the first time and you're putting your ideas together and you're forming these new thoughts on these new teams. And we're not quite at All-Star break and we're not quite at trade deadline. Like, a lot of guys still can't be traded yet in the NBA.
I mean, the NBA is constantly in a state of like, when are some transactions going to happen? And I feel like this time of year, it's like that, like the carnival game where you're shooting the water and it blows up the balloon and you're just waiting for the balloon to pop.
Yeah.
That's what the NBA feels like from like December to whenever trades start mid-January, I guess.
Yeah. Most guys I believe it was anybody that signed a contract this offseason can't be traded until December 15th.
Yes. And anyone who signed an extension cannot be traded at all. Like Bradley Beal cannot be traded this year. So there goes that dream.
So there you go. That shapes the beginning of the discourse in the NBA. The Raptors saw Kyle Lowry and Serge Ibaka return to the lineup after 10 very successful games.
Yes.
On the sidelines. And the takes are back.
Oh, buddy.
With Kyle Lowry come the takes.
How quickly do we go from champs are here, who cares, to let's get some takes?
Every year, Kyle Lowry has to have something follow him. And I'm guilty of this. And this year, as I said, not going to happen.
I like that you're owning up to it and we're going to stand backing him.
We're going to do stuff like call him Hall of Fame point guard Kyle Lowry.
I like it. Because he is.
The best Raptor of all time.
Without question.
The latest run of takes is Fred better. That's the latest round.
I mean, I can see the argument in 2019.
Right. Well,
if we're talking,
if we're doing all decade show, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But right now and going forward,
I still think no. But I see the thought process there.
We'll get into it. The honeymoon with Sheldon Keefe is not over, but everyone's looking at the flight home and they're like, all right.
Leafs Talk's back. The switchboards are lighting up again on Leafs Talk.
Everyone's looking at the plane ticket home and being like, all right, you get one more round of watered down alcohol and then we can get back to our lives. It's turning back into Maple Leafs hockey pretty quickly.
Very quick. We'll get into it, but I still think they did the right thing.
Right.
There might be other problems.
Once again, the takes are back.
Yes.
And the Blue Jays, it's just very much, not that it's like...
The Blue Jays are in on a bunch of guys they're not going to get.
Every one of these stories is exactly what you would expect, right? Yeah. Lowry came back and you've got Lowry takes. The Leafs are bad again. We have Leafs takes. The Jays are rumored to get guys that they are not signing.
Correct.
Everything is back to normal.
But hey, you know what? They tried.
Yeah. Everything is back to normal. We're in rhythm.
I do love
it's going to be easy.
I love the Jays articles that are all just like, well, they had the conversation and they might have submitted an offer, but in the end they decided not to, and we'll see if it pays off.
There's
every single article is, we'll see if not paying a guy is the right call.
Most people have said that they are among the most active teams when calling on starting pitching.
I don't disagree with that. I'm sure they are. They're just offering them $30 million below.
I'm sure it's not even offers. They're calling teams they're calling players to see how many teams they're dealing with.
Yeah.
And then you extrapolate that out. It's okay, if only 5 teams are in on Wheeler, then probably only 4 teams are in on the guy below him. Downward and downward. How low can we get to where bidding it all makes us the highest bidder? That's what they're doing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Anyway.
I have no doubt they're calling people.
Yes, we'll extrapolate on all these conversations because we have bigger topics to filter in down below that. But also, December means a new brewery.
Hey.
Radical Road is our brewery of the month. I have had Radical Road many, many times.
Me too. I drink their yuzu beer all the time.
I pull it out of the line of the beer, like when I'm getting beer.
Same.
It's in the line.
Well, the OSBO near your house always has it.
Always has it. Top drawer. This week, we go a little further down Queen Street to a beautiful little joint called Radical Road Brewing Company. You may know them from their Yuzu Pale Ale or the 8-track IPA. They are available in the LCBO, but people may not know it's also a great place to go to stop by. You can have a nice pint. The Brew Pub and Retail Shop located in the heart of Leslieville, Queen and Jones. Open 7 days a week, 363 days a year until 11 p.m. each evening. Today, we are opening the Session.
Oh, I don't have one yet.
IPA. Pardon me. That's my faux pas.
What a great can.
It's a 4-track Session IPA, 4%, nice and light. Start our day off right.
This is 8 tracks Lil Bud. That's what it says on the description. That's so cute.
The lighter version of the 8-track keeps the juicy hop flavor with a lighter body and lighter alcohol content, perfect for recording over lunch. Slurp and discuss.
Slurp and discuss. Huh.
That is light.
That's very light. I like that. This is another one of those.
A lot of flavor.
Yeah. This is another one of those like have 16.
Once again, the Brew Pub and Retail Shop, Queen and Jones on Queen Street East.
Also, shout out to Sean for
nailing it,
giving us a 4% on a day when I have not really had food.
Me either. Radical Road Brewing Company. It's radicalroadbrew.com for more information. Thank you to Radical Road for bringing the beer of the month. If you want your favorite beer to be beer of the month in January or a month after that, at them and at us at Sportsfeld, we will slurp it on the air.
Just send us more beer.
Or buy us beer and send it to us.
That also works. I just want free beer.
Anyway, we start with the Raptors? Question mark?
Sure.
Yes. Because they played last night.
They played yesterday. They're the most recent, I guess.
Yeah, they lost to the Heat. I think we're going to ignore the Kyle Lowry takes for the most part. We're both pretty level-headed guys.
I mean, it's first game. The Heat are a very good defensive team who like to swipe at the ball. It's his first game back. It's fine.
Now.
It's also, first week of December.
Absolutely right.
Whatever.
It's championship season. How mad can you really be?
Yeah.
The answer is pretty mad for a lot of people.
He struggled and he was really bad, but I'm sure he'll be better tomorrow.
And as we have learned many times, it's not just about the points per game with Kyle Lowry.
Correct. And also, as we have learned many times, doubting Kyle Lowry is a fool's errand.
I'm not going to do it.
No.
I'll say that much.
Absolutely not.
I don't have...
You paid the fight on that one.
Exactly right. I don't want to be lumped in with that crew. Being right does not justify what you have to go through to get there.
Right, but you were also wrong.
Correct. Right. Betting on time and eventually being like, well, Kyle Lowry will eventually get old.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely right. There's no fun in that.
I also think that the age argument, he was good before he got hurt.
Yeah. He's been fine. He's been very good this season.
Yeah.
And he was, again, last night.
Back. As he said, he hasn't played basketball since he got hurt.
The bigger question for you is all these Raptors losses now, the ones we are ready to name off the top of our heads.
Milwaukee.
You say Miami. Clippers, sort of.
End of a long string.
Back to back.
West Coast.
Tough thing. Point remains. Dallas?
Yep.
We're talking about basically some of the best teams in the league.
Yep.
All these games have come down and been relatively close.
All teams that have a bona fide superstar.
Right. These are the teams they have to beat to win anything, right?
Correct.
Those are the teams.
Especially Miami and Milwaukee.
Right. We can come on after
the West Coast teams worry me less because if they play them and when they have to, it's a finals. So who cares?
And Boston, we forgot Boston.
Oh,
they
yeah.
lost to Boston.
Just fuck them.
Does that concern you that the only teams because we can talk about them beating the Magic. It's not anything.
Yeah.
There's nothing to that. What's your level on that? Looking at the only teams that seem to have solved them.
My level of concern?
Just, how does it sit with you?
I mean, it's not great, but I'm also not too worried about it yet. And I think yet is the key qualifier. Boston was the fourth game of the season. So whatever.
They're all explainable.
No, last night's pretty bad.
Last night you have Kyle Lowry returning from an injury.
Sure. But they got beat pretty handily.
But they took it to overtime.
And then got smoked.
I'm just saying, right? Well, all the things are working against them. It comes down to one more made basket.
It does, but it also comes down to Miami having a guy like Jimmy Butler who scored 8 points in 55 seconds in overtime.
Jimmy Butler's made a career of killing the Raptors.
For sure.
In Toronto.
Yes. Even against Philly, Kawhi's shot doesn't go in. Jimmy Butler sent that game to overtime by driving coast to coast. That's what Jimmy Butler does against Toronto. I'm not concerned to the point where I think it's an issue yet, but I do think the fact that they're I don't want to be the guys they were on a 7-game win streak and they lost one game, so let's panic.
For sure.
Utah, by all account, maybe they're not.
Right.
But preseason prognosticating, Utah was slated to be a top team in the West. They were up by 40 on them at halftime the other day.
Yes. this is where we are now, right? This is sort of indicative of where the franchise is. The days of just being like, well, they're a very good team, and that's where we know that now, right?
Yeah.
It's
and I mean, this
to your
happens.
exact
This happens.
point.
Boston lost to the Kyrie-less Nets.
Yes.
Like,
that's right.
You know, no one
Dallas
goes
lost to the Knicks twice.
Yeah, no one goes 82-0.
Right.
That being said, they play Houston tomorrow night and Philly on Sunday. If those next two games, they come out flat and Pascal sort of wilts away, so to speak, against these tough competitions, then I might start to get concerned. Although that being said, they just beat Philly like 2 weeks ago and like held Joel Embiid with 0 points.
This is all so like, is there anything more Raptors than being
one of the most fun streaks in franchise history?
But like being ignored by ESPN and having it be like 2 weeks of like bullshit that you're saying, and then like as soon as they get the recognition, they lose to Miami.
Course.
Like it's perfect. It's perfect. As soon
as they get their full roster back,
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, you know, to my earlier point about the sort of being how it is now. These are obviously only 4 or 5 games, but they are the measuring stick games that people are going to remember. There's some signs.
There are. I would also say though, the flip side of it.
Sure.
How many years in the DeMar era when they'd play Cleveland in like January,
right,
and kick the piss out of them or beat them in a close game or just beat them at all, and it'd be like, it's finally, and then the playoffs doesn't matter.
How are you feeling? I remember, I want to say a couple weeks ago or last week, you were pretty ready to talk about some trade ideas.
I still think they're one piece away from being.
Norm Powell is somebody who is Nick Nurse basically willed into existence Norm Powell scoring 16 points a night and sometimes scoring 25. He literally said when Norm was playing well, he's like, Norm's playing well, but I wish we could pencil him in or put him in pen for 16 every night. I have to
find it.
Since that day, Norm has scored at least 16 points in like every single game.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely not hurting his trade value, but I also think you can. Will Lou had a tweet the other day.
So to you, it's trade value and not. You don't need to fill that as much.
I still think
you're asking, you know, what are you going to go require? A guy who can get 16 to 20?
I don't think Norm Powell is the like answer either way to the Raptors being a contender.
Really? Because I've heard people say that Norm is the lid lifter.
Interesting. I just feel like they need,
because good Norm Powell fills this, whatever you're about to say they need.
I still think I'm not sure exactly what to call. They need Danny Green. That's what I think they need. They need a reliable 3-and-D guy who can fill that 2-guard spot, because in the playoffs, as good as they are, I'm not sure I trust regularly running Fred and Kyle at the same time.
Right. The 2-guard lineup is sort of.
We've seen it so many times, legendary. And I know we've seen it with not Nick Nurse, and I know it worked against Golden State, but Golden State also plays small, and we also had Kawhi Leonard. So I don't know, man. I've obviously Norm playing well helps, but I'm kind of wondering. I'm trying to find it. There was a tweet, I want to say it was from Will, about who they could trade to create like $7.6 million worth of a player.
Oh, I think that was Alex Wong who put that.
Was it Alex? Yeah.
He was trying to get JJ Redick.
Yes. Yeah. That was it. But I think
McCaw and Stanley Johnson.
That's it. McCaw, Stanley Johnson, and a pick. So if you can do that and keep Norm, that's a real. If let's say it's JJ Redick,
right? Which
I'm not even sure is the right guy to get, but let's say it's JJ Redick,
right?
If you're running this team plus JJ Redick, all of a sudden that's a really interesting team to me, especially if you're just giving up McCaw and Stanley Johnson who aren't playing. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I trust Masai to finagle whatever he's going to finagle because it's Masai. It's what he does.
It is what he does.
Like,
it's all he's ever done.
Far be it from me to be like, oh boy, I hope he doesn't make a bad trade.
It's all he's ever done.
Like, if Masai makes
something,
Masai's at the point now where if he does make a bad trade, it's kind of like, well,
the odds of it being an impactful bad trade are pretty low.
Yeah. So
I think that's fair.
I do think they need to add somebody. But to Alex's point, I do think you can do it without trading Norm. And if Norm's getting you 16 a night and you can add a piece, and I still think, I said at the beginning of the season, the biggest thing for the Raptors is Pascal.
Right.
Like,
he's been great.
He's been great. And then there's like last night he was quite bad against a good team. I know that hasn't been the case all year. He was great against both LAs. He's been great basically every game except last night.
Right.
But I think that's the question. If Pascal continues to play at a, let's call it a superstar level, which he has been unquestionably, then I think they don't need to tweak a ton.
Now, somebody else that has been playing at a great level that we sort of hinted at it in the preview of the Lowry takes. Fred VanVleet is an NBA starter.
Yes. Yeah, I think he's proven that.
I don't think he's had a bad game, really.
Not like noticeably.
What do you think? Like, you're 100% convinced this is Fred forever now? This is new Fred? Or do you still have too much playoff, like,
I honestly
he was unplayable for a little bit?
I have no idea, to be honest.
Because we're not far off from us being like, well, they can't play Fred.
Yeah.
They could not
from us
Fred.
seeing him on the floor and going, oh no.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have no idea. I don't know who Fred VanVleet is.
Interesting.
I do think now it's been, whatever.
He can certainly shoot. We know that much.
Yeah. I mean, like, he's been good now for, I guess, 8 playoff games plus, 9 playoff games plus how many games they played this year?
20-something.
20. So like 30. He's on a 30-game streak of being a legit player, but we've seen that from other players before. I think my opinion of Fred right now is that the contract he is currently on is exactly what it should be.
$10-ish million.
Yeah. That could definitely go up and will go up because he's going to get paid more than $10 million by somebody. He's good enough that a team will pay him that money. I hope it's the Raptors because I do like Fred.
And somebody has to be the guard after Lowry.
Exactly. It sounds insane after the second half of the playoff run and the start of the season.
Sure.
But I need to see 50 more games from him. You know what I mean?
I don't think that's unreasonable. You're talking about less than a full season sample size. At that point, you'll be at a full season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like if he
and some big moments, obviously.
If he keeps this up till April, pay him 100%. But I don't know. And like, you can't point to his size because Lowry's also undersized and this team's clearly built.
They've cloned him basically.
To handle it. It kind of does seem like that.
They cloned him. I don't know, Masai. I don't know. I give him infinity credit.
I think if Fred could get a little bit stronger at finishing, I'd be like all in today.
Okay.
He has that Lowry drive and penetration, but he doesn't quite have the finish yet. But again, he's younger and developing. And I also worry that is he going to run into the Lowry problem where the way he plays, he's going to be hurt all the time.
That's tough.
Which obviously does not precate paying him and signing him to a new deal.
Right.
But it's just, I watch him. I'm like, oh, your back's going to hurt when you're older.
Who among us?
Right. Like, like I remember Steve, like you think about Steve Nash who couldn't sit on the bench and had to lie down. It's like, oh yeah.
Right.
I wonder if that's going to.
They're in an interesting spot. This is one of the more interesting spots because
it's a much more interesting season than I ever could have expected it to be after winning a title.
There's lots of different ways to attack whatever you think is right or wrong about the team. That's what's very interesting right now.
Yeah.
They could do just about anything coming up.
I think now that I'm thinking about it, going back like 4 minutes ago, I said that Pascal was sort of my biggest concern.
Yeah.
I think my biggest concern is the quality we've been getting from Boucher and Hollis Jefferson. Because I like them a lot.
Yes.
But I absolutely, that could go away at any time.
I think Hollis Jefferson is a little more, I've seen a little more evidence that this is who he is and this is what he does.
Yeah.
Boucher was, I didn't see it coming.
No. Oh my God, no. But like your 10th man obviously isn't winning you the title. But
they can certainly keep you from winning the title.
This could go away at any moment. Although I guess now that Serge is back, it's a little less imperative.
I'm surprised people haven't really been mentioning this. I think Gasol is very important.
Yes. Clearly, like he held Embiid to 0 points.
Didn't we just learn that maybe they can do this without Serge?
Yeah.
That's the one that I'm like, backup center. You can get Boucher to block shots and rebound. I know he made some huge. There's going to be a time when you need a guy who can make some huge shots, but Chris Boucher is willing to take open threes. Maybe too willing.
I think with Serge, though, I agree with you, but I also think back to the playoff run and just for matchup switching, he's so useful just for making sure there's always someone on the floor who's playing the defense you want. And I just don't know if Boucher's like awareness and basketball IQ are there yet.
Yes,
they might be. Like they might come because he just seems very green still. Totally. Which he is, because he's been in the league for like 6 months. But I would say yes with a but for you.
Sure.
I agree. And if there were a deal that could swing the chances of the Raptors winning the title exponentially, I don't know who that's for or what that is, but it had to involve Serge, I'd probably make that deal.
Yeah. I'm more than I'm suggesting, and I'm sort of surprised it hasn't been suggested. Yeah. That's all.
Like I know
people talk about trading Mark more than they talk about trading Serge.
Which to me I don't think
seems silly.
Yeah. And I also think that I know he can't be traded this year, but if there was a Bradley Beal type,
you will not rest until Bradley Beal plays in Toronto.
No, he's coming. him and Giannis, it's happening. Him and Giannis 2021. But if there were the kind of guy or a Jimmy Butler type, or like the guy who's not, Kawhi level, but is close, that even if it's a rental just for this year, I'd probably put Serge in that deal.
Well said. I'm excited for the Knicks to trade for DeMar DeRozan. Anyway, I don't know. They have all the contracts. They have so many guys on
oh my God,
mid-level price contracts.
Imagine DeMar on the Knicks.
Package whoever they needed. They need somebody.
Oh my God.
That isn't a power forward or a point guard. I don't know. I just feel that. I feel like DeMar is coming to the Eastern Conference before the trade deadline. That feels like a foregone conclusion.
I hope he doesn't go to Miami.
Some teams looking at this going, we could use 20 points a night.
If he goes to Miami.
From pull-up twos.
If he goes to Miami, you know that the Raptors are losing.
For sure. 100%. Book it.
I need him to not go to an Eastern Conference playoff team. Because they will.
DeMar DeRozan.
If he goes to an Eastern Conference playoff team, they will beat the Raptors in the playoffs.
Pistons would be funny too. DeMar and Casey.
Casey again, that'd
be what as funny as it gets.
Yeah.
Anyway, we will see what happens in that front. Couple of exciting times on the way. I can't wait for basketball transaction rumors. We're just outside of it
close.
Actually happening.
I think after Christmas is when it really picks up.
We've had just enough time for people to see who needs what and to start figuring out money. It's actual concrete rumors next. That's what really kicks into gear. And speaking of rumors, we have Blue Jays rumors, and we have more questions similar to the Raptors ones, only much, 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 much worse about the Maple Leafs. Your Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh, Nick Shore claimed on waivers by Winnipeg.
Yes, indeed. I have a thought about that exact thing, actually.
Okay.
I feel like other teams in the league, the Maple Leafs have to have a crunch coming here. They have to cut a bunch of guys so they can afford Marner.
Yes.
I feel like
they also have too many forwards to begin with.
Yes. I feel like other teams around the league are going to claim whoever they waive here.
Well, it happened within an hour and a half.
Even though Nick Patan has gone up and down a couple times this year, I think the next time Nick Patan goes to waivers, he's getting claimed.
I can see it.
I think Martin Marinson's getting claimed next time he goes to waivers.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because teams are like, wait a minute, why do I care if you have enough guys to shuttle back and forth?
Yeah.
Have exactly as many guys as you're dressing that night and nobody scratched. And if somebody gets hurt, that's your own problem, Toronto.
I can see it.
Not my issue.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
The Maple Leafs. It's been 3 games in a row of, hey, look at this again.
Yeah, a lot of
guess who's back? I would call this a huge jump of monumental proportions. Perhaps got a little too carried away with Sheldon Keefe right away.
Yeah, I mean,
perhaps.
I feel like they probably did get a boost from just not hating going to work every day.
Right. Sort of put the controller down last night against the Philly and walked away. Man. That's pretty bad.
What was that, 12 minutes to go in the third? It was just nah.
2.5 minutes to go in the third. It went from 3-1 to 6-1.
That was it. Okay. I got all the score alerts.
People were not watching.
No.
Watching Raptors play in the Heat.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
But, okay.
Not good.
Firing Babcock, 100%
had
the
to
right
do
thing.
it.
And especially after
change talkies, we know it somehow. I don't know. It happened.
100% had to fire Babcock. Still support it. Still think it's the right call. Maybe there are deeper problems with this team.
If it doesn't work with Keefe, the questions are no longer asked of the coaching staff.
Yes. I mean, the defense is bad.
Real bad. Cody Ceci remains a 20-minute a night player. Doesn't matter who's coaching.
Because he has to.
Yikes.
They have 4-ish, 3.5. Barry's been better.
Mm-hmm.
He's scoring.
Yeah.
He's doing what Tyson Barry's supposed to do.
It's not nothing.
No one's asking Tyson Barry to be a stay-at-home defenseman except for Mike Babcock. Riley's Riley. Muzzin's good. Yeah. And then it's kind of boy, I kind of wish we still had Jake Gardner. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm ready to have a game where they scratch him and they call up Sandin. I'd rather see Sandin.
Yeah, same.
This is Leafs talk. This is a Leafs radio show.
It's impossible not to.
Yeah.
You can't criticize this team.
They should scratch one AHL defenseman and call up another AHL defenseman.
That's the ticket.
That's what's wrong.
But they're not going to scratch Cody Ceci.
I know.
So you have to make that argument. I don't know what's wrong with them.
It never stops. It never stops.
But like, it's gone from being like, oh, okay, they're poorly coached or not being coached or whatever, to, oh, they just don't give a shit.
We're
to
back.
like, what's...
It's the same. It's never not been this exact team. Like, for as long as we've been alive.
That's true.
There have been, other than the years where they bottom out, this is the Maple Leafs.
But like, this team is, on paper, is better than 98% of those teams in our lifetime.
Boy, this is yes, for sure.
Because
they were like bottom out bad a lot.
Unquestionably, this team is better than every team save maybe like 93, and hockey was dog shit then anyway, so who knows.
So the latest big questions are for number 34. The questions are now about Austin Matthews because it can't be Sheldon Keefe. Because if it was Babcock, then it's not Keefe.
Here's a question though:
Is Austin Matthews like a complete player? Is he a full superstar?
Yes, but I have another question.
Because a full superstar would be a puck retriever. He would be a defensive zone guy.
Okay, but here's my but question here.
Sure.
Before this season,
right,
there was a ton of noise constantly. Mm-hmm. Who is going to be the next captain of the Maple Leafs?
Right, John Tavares.
The questions are not falling on the captain of the Maple Leafs.
Well, that's true.
If you're going to do all this pomp and circumstance about the importance of a captain, which I don't think is real, and I think it's bullshit. Like the idea of the captain being like whatever is old and stupid. But if you're going to make it a thing, maybe the question should be asked of the captain.
Gutsy take.
He's playing well. Like he's playing well.
No, I like it.
But like that's who if you're not going to the coach, you go to the captain.
I like that.
You don't go to the alternate captain.
That's a curveball. But he's supposed to be the best player is the only other kind of argument for that.
Sure. But like he usually still kind of is.
Right. I think it first started to come up the game they played Buffalo, and Jack Eichel played really well. And people were like, Jack Eichel is a defensive zone guy and a neutral zone guy and an offensive zone guy. Where people are like, oh, Matthews is just an offensive zone guy. This is Kessel again. We're doing Kessel again.
Yeah, but I don't think that's true.
Right.
I think he might dog it and like not give a shit sometimes.
Right.
But like I don't think you can say that Austin Matthews is Phil Kessel.
That's sort of, but you understand that even that argument of saying he might dog it half the time is the Phil Kessel argument.
Sure, but the Phil Kessel argument was like Phil wasn't a defensive zone player.
Right.
Even when he was working, like we do love Phil. We'll get into how much we love Phil at a later date. But like that wasn't his game. He's also a winger.
Right. No, I understand.
Also a winger.
I understand.
But like
I'm just you're seeing the parallels, right?
Yes, I am. But I just
Your best young scorer who can shoot a puck like nobody else on the planet.
Yeah. I just don't think that Austin's necessarily. I don't think he is as one way as he is being perceived.
That's Toronto, baby.
For sure it is. Absolutely is. And he's also not Canadian.
Because then what happens is neither was Phil.
I know.
It's the same guy.
Yeah. You know who is Canadian?
Big John.
Who's not being asked any questions.
That's right. Well, what do you want? He's carrying the C. It's hard. It's a load.
It's a heavy C.
It's a load.
His upper shoulder area.
Ask Dion. It's not easy to do. Big diesel. No, I think you make good points. I think the parallels to Kessel are, as I say them, growing more and more. Because here's what happens to these guys, right?
Unfairly though, just as Phil's were.
100%. What happens to these guys is they say, oh, Austin's a one-way guy. And then once he doesn't produce in that one way, then people go, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, fucking, he's supposed to score. He's not even doing that. That's what happens.
Sure. And I get that, but also people are idiots.
We'll see what happens when Marner's back.
Yeah. The other thing, if you want to do parallels to Phil.
Please.
If you took Phil Kessel off that team.
Of course.
They'd be one of the worst teams of all time.
Yeah.
If you took Austin Matthews off this team, they wouldn't be one of the worst teams of all time, but they'd be bad.
They would be bad. They were bad.
Yeah.
We have all the evidence in the world. When he was on the team, they were bad.
You can
forever.
You can still have Tavares, Marner, and Willie and whomever. But you get rid of Austin, this team is significantly worse.
Interesting to see what happens next because Marner's on the way back, and similar to what happened with Zach Hyman, his absence has made his impact seem
huge.
Like it's going to be huge. Zach Hyman was supposed to solve everything. The penalty kill's better. Got to give him that.
It's going to be interesting when Marner's back and they finally have the full slate roster with Sheldon Keefe. If that first week doesn't go well,
that's it.
Oh boy,
that's it. Decision time.
Oh boy,
there's no long-term view.
No,
when you're on the Maple Leafs,
not even. And
it happens to every fucking coach in front office.
Yeah,
they come in and they talk about it, and then it gets 6 months in. They're like, "Oof, I would love to win right now."
That being said, I do think this Leafs team has purposely, probably, painted themselves into the corner where the long-term view is no longer the point.
Right.
This team is built to win now. It's not built for long term. The long term was when they lost to Washington.
Right.
That was the long term year of like, okay, we have 2 more years before we're supposed to be a contender. That's what we said. When they lost to Washington, it was, this is fine because this was supposed to be, they weren't supposed to make the playoffs this year. This was supposed to be the growth year. Well, now it's 2 years later, 3 years later, 3 seasons later.
Yep.
This is the time you're supposed to be a contender. There is no long term with this team.
Interesting. We're going to be very interesting. They're in a very interesting spot. Anything could happen. Like we could be at the deadline and they could be in any spot.
Yep.
You could tell me anything and I would believe it. Speaking of transaction rumors and Longview contending.
The longest view.
The Blue Jays tied up to in which, I use that tentatively.
Been mentioned in the same article as.
Yes. I would say now we're at 5 when you bring in Pineda.
Wheeler, Pineda.
Wheeler, Pineda, Ryu from the Dodgers.
Yep.
Dallas Keuchel was mentioned from Morosi. And as well, Josh Lindblom, who is a guy they're probably going to actually sign.
Yeah.
No,
it's weird that the guys that they are going to get aren't on that list, yes. Like Tanner Roark, which is happening.
There is one thing to take from this for me. One thing I take from this is, by me. There you go. All those guys have a couple things in common in that they are all 30 years old and older. Mm-hmm. They all are like guys that are going to make 8 digits.
Yeah.
Yearly and cumulatively. And they're all guys that you can see similar. Like Wheeler's not going to happen.
No,
they're not going to 5 years.
$100 million.
They're not giving anybody 5 years.
No chance.
Doesn't matter who it is. They're all guys that you can sort of pencil in. You could say they're between 30 and 32 years old, and you could see them offering them 3 years at probably more money than they're worth.
See, the second part I disagree. I can see the 3 years for sure.
Yeah.
But I feel like they'll be like, your market is 18. Like, we'll give you 17, but
going to have to overpay.
I know they're going to have, but they're not going to.
Right. Fair enough. But at least, and I use this with the shortest rope I can offer this, at least the type of player they are pursuing, at least that makes sense.
Yeah.
At least that says we're going to get real guys to pitch.
Yes. I mean, like, they were never going to get Cole or Strasburg.
Absolutely not. Nobody's getting.
They're also not getting Wheeler.
No one's getting 9 figures and no one's getting 5 years.
Yeah.
Get that out of your head now.
Yeah. I think that's definitely accurate.
3 years and probably never more than
25.
Oh, I don't think anybody's getting 25 either.
What? So what do you think? Like 19 for 3 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody.
That feels right. Well, Chase Anderson's getting 8.
Maybe they give somebody 20 this year and then it scales down. Or
Chase Anderson's getting 8 and he's pretty bad. So
it'll be interesting. We also had the non-tender deadline go by.
And they did not non-tender Brendan Drury.
They did not. Some other guys got non-tendered though.
Yes.
Kevin
Pillar,
Aaron Sanchez. Oh, while we're here, I'd love to do this. Sorry, I meant to do this. I meant to mention that I was going to do this, but while we're here, here's what I don't need.
Aaron Sanchez?
No, you know what I don't need? Is people coming out of the woodwork and saying Kevin Pillar non-tendered. Trade doesn't look so bad now.
Oh, fuck off.
What did they get for Kevin Pillar?
I genuinely couldn't tell you.
Alan Hansen, who didn't last a month.
Yep.
Derek Law, who was also non-tendered.
Yep.
And a 21-year-old who had an ERA over 9 in rookie ball. Do not come to me as if turning Kevin Pillar into 3 non-tender guys is an accomplishment. That is not an accomplishment. That's nothing. You got nothing for nothing. I was wrong. I'm so sorry. These guys are brilliant. I didn't realize they could get 3 non-tender guys for Kevin Pillar.
For 0.
Of course they can get nothing for Kevin Pillar. That's easy to do. Same shit. Sanchez, non-tendered. Looks pretty good now, doesn't it? No, it doesn't.
No, it's still bad.
Derek Fisher's bad.
Derek Fisher got hit in the face trying to catch a ball.
Getting a bad player for half a season of a guy who got non-tendered is not an accomplishment. That's not impressive.
That's Blue Jays baseball, baby. That's what we do.
You could they got a guy who's going to get non-tendered next year for a guy who got non-tendered this year. What an accomplishment. Give me a break.
Actually, technically,
absurd.
If you think about it, the Sanchez trade actually is a failure because Biagini got re-upped. He got re-upped. So
there you go. Like that's the measuring stick.
The worst guy in that deal got re-upped, and it wasn't by us.
If your measuring stick is Derek Fisher is better than Joe Biagini, not a huge soapbox to be talking down.
I mean, like he's probably less insufferable.
Anyway,
at least off the field.
That was my little. I thought
that's.
So that came out, and I was like, "What?" Trade doesn't look so. No, it looks equally bad.
It looks bad for both teams now.
It looks like a bad trade.
It looks like
that neither team needed.
It looks like Houston gave up nothing to be like, Yeah, we gave it a shot.
These guys suck.
Yeah.
The guy we were going to cut, we don't have to cut them.
And now we get to cut this guy instead. Fuck him.
An extra year of Derek Fisher. That's what you're rubbing in my face. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he has a great year next year.
They're going to bring one of those guys back.
Or maybe he's non-10. No chance. No chance. There's no chance Aaron Sanchez ever pitches in Toronto again.
I hope not.
No chance. He hates it here.
Here's Marcus is gone.
Here's a blanket statement. Any player that was on the 2015 Blue Jays
is never playing.
Hates the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, that's probably true.
No,
they went from having the best year of their lives to these guys coming in and being like, hey, all that fun? Fuck that.
You will not find an exception to that rule.
Yeah, I think that's probably accurate.
There's nobody that was like, no, I'd love to go back there. No.
There's nobody left.
They're gone.
There's nobody left except for like Dalton Pompey.
Luke Manley got non-tendered. That's your...
I think Alfred's now our longest tenured player, by the way.
Yeah, for now, until he's cut it in spring training. He doesn't have any options left and he's not good enough to play in the outfield. We would have talked about this
I've fully gone full circle, by the way. Like, I know I've been like, oh no, like give these guys a chance. Sure. Like they've made some okay moves. I'm fully on like the fuck it train. Fuck them. This sucks. And I know they're not the only team in the league that's doing this. I know every team in the league, except for like the Yankees, is like, we're not paying anybody.
The disease has infected the entire sport.
For sure. And like
Red Sox are like, oh, we can't play Mookie Betts. Like, yeah, you can.
Yeah. What was that? What was the article that came out this week? That was just like all these teams be like, oh no, we don't know. We have to move financials around.
Cleveland's going to have to get rid of Lindor.
Yeah. Like
you can pay him.
You can pay him.
Like your best player.
So I know that this isn't just a Blue Jays problem. It doesn't make it better.
For sure.
Because they've also been doing it for 2 years before this was a thing.
That's the hockey culture excuse.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And like
this is what happens. But they were also, it sucks ass.
But
Stop doing it.
They were also doing it before this new disease leaked in. For sure. They did it for 2 years, from 16 to 18, before everyone was like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Don't the Red Sox, aren't they mad that they hired Dombrowski and won 2 World Series?
Yeah.
Look at them now.
What a shame.
All those pitchers they signed aren't as good as they were when they signed them.
I've had a real week, I think because of all the rumors coming out, I had a real week of just like, and also looking at like
50 guys got untendered. That's insane.
Yeah, that's nuts. But like looking at like, all decade retrospectives and the sort of the first week of transactions and rumors, the Blue Jays are never going to be good again. Like until something drastic changes, this team will not be good. We are going to waste all 6 years of Vlad and Bo.
This is a take.
Vlad and Bo are going to be the Carlos Delgado of this generation.
Because if they sign 2 good pitchers.
Yeah, but here's the thing. They're not.
Yeah, right.
They're going to sign 2 like replacement level. They're going to sign 2 guys who are fine. That's what they're going to do. They're going to sign, I keep saying it, they're going to sign Tanner Roark and like Alex Wood. And it's going to be.
Don't tease me.
And they're going to be like, they're going to be fine. Like, I don't think it'll be better than last year.
Right.
But like that brings us to like 74 wins.
What if they're like 500?
Depends who they sign to get there.
I love it. This is the exact opposite of the Raptors thing, where like if the Jays went 500,
Raptors won a title.
I know, it's just so funny. Like if they go 500, people are like, wow, something's happening here. It's like 500. Earlier in this decade,
81 wins.
Early in the decade, we blew up teams for being 500.
We blew up teams for winning 86 games.
Very, very interesting to see the path that
they're never going to be good. They're never until either the front office changes or the entire mindset around the sport changes, which is going to happen because there is going to be a work stoppage in a year or so. But what is that, 2022? Is that the CBA?
Here's the thing, right? The fact that the sport is going that way, to me, they have a wide open path. Yeah, right.
It'd be so easy.
The new inefficiency is trying to win. That's what the Brewers did a couple years ago. Yeah, we should just get Christian Yelich.
Yeah. It'd be so easy. To your point with signing 2 pitchers, the Jays need to sign like 3 guys and they can win the wild card.
Yeah, pretty simply.
Genuinely.
Yeah, they could just overpay for Wheeler.
Yeah.
If
they do like
overpay him.
Wheeler, Keuchel, and someone in the outfield.
Taiwan Walker.
Yeah.
And then boom.
And trade for Sterling Marte for nothing.
See, because now like you mentioned, we have a look back at the decade show coming at the end of the month. We've been researching it. My retroactive thing is like really fucked up 2016.
Yeah.
Like really no excuse to like looking. Obviously, it's easy to look back at now.
No, but man.
4 years of hindsight, like, man, if you had traded Alfred and Tellez.
Or Pompey.
Alfred, Tellez, and Pompey, you could have gotten.
Anybody.
You could have replaced David Price immediately.
Yep.
Or gotten a real like shortstop or gotten anything you wanted.
Anything.
Crazy.
When did Sale sign in Boston?
I want to say 2016. Anyway, you could have any of the rental guys.
Yeah.
Any big, like you could have gotten so many from teams that were closing that window. Oh my goodness. You could have raided a team.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can't because they're gone now. All those guys are worth absolutely nothing.
Correct.
Anthony Alfred's going to get optioned. And
Dalton Pompey probably will as well if he ever plays again.
I don't even think he's on a 40 man. He already got DFA.
I think you're right. You're right. Yes, he did.
Alfred's going to get revoked, like the outright waivers every year.
But yeah, just sign 3 fucking guys and you can win 89 games in this league.
Crazy.
The league is bad. Like we made this argument about the 2017 team that tried to be dog shit. That was like, the league is so bad. They have enough talent on the roster. They could challenge.
Another year, they could have just tried.
Yep.
But they didn't. Anyway, they wasted it. Now it's over. We're going to look back at that at the end of the month. That is not a conversation for right now. But that's the near future. We'll see. There's a chance, the baseball free agency is crazy that they could sign somebody low end, some nobody, by the time this comes out. Or they could not for months. The winter meetings are next week. We'll get a better idea. I feel like they're just, as I mentioned off the top, what they're doing is they're not making offers. They're calling teams and finding out who has, like, what level of guy are they the most.
Can they pay the least for that has the most value?
Who else who's not getting offers? They're checking in, okay, 5 guys on Wheeler, 4 guys on Keuchel. Down and down. Who is it a two-team battle for that we can just say, hey, we'll give you what you deserve?
Yep, that sounds about right.
Or less undervalue you. Anyway, that is a lot of sports talk. Pulled out of nothing.
Mad now.
Well, I got good news for you. It's mailbag time after that.
Mad.
We got lots more to talk about and lots more to get mad about. Big takes and music, wrestling. Does this freak you out? All that stuff is on the way. Jake, another excellent Columbia House party in the can.
Thank you.
Third Eye Blind this week.
Yeah. First album that I was like, on.
It was the first one where I, like 45 minutes into it, I was like, do I like Third Eye Blind?
Right? That's the thing about that album. There's enough like hits and good songs there to be like, oh yeah, this album slaps. But there's also like an hour more of the record. Where you're like, there's still an hour of this record.
Right. I messaged Blake, but I still think it should have been Graduate as the song.
I would not disagree with that.
But it's it was his pick. And Blake is going to
Motorcycle Drive has a good song.
Going to stay true to himself. Yeah. But Graduate was the one where I was like, damn, this is a banger that I completely forgotten about.
You know what? When I was re-listening to it for the show, I had the exact same thought.
Yeah. The difference between this is a banger I didn't know was Third Eye Blind and like I don't know what this song is. That was the difference for me.
Fair.
Which is, fair enough. And as a big fan, Blake has the right to make that his mixtape.
Don't worry. There'll be lots of records that are one-hit wonders that I like that I'm like, no, this is great. And everyone's gonna be like, you kidding me?
For those but you're also very correct in that it was that year as music.
Yes.
Like, it's a time warp.
Just like the guitar sound. It's like, 1997. Cool.
Anyway,
Jake,
song of the week.
Song of the week this week is Love Song by The Damned for no other reason that I woke up that's stuck in my head today.
That makes sense to me.
And The Damned Rule.
Yeah, I mean, also pretty light match of the week. Didn't have a lot of great wrestling matches this week. We are sort of leading into a build for Royal Rumble, I want to say. It's a tough time.
Don't ask me.
Wrestle Kingdom's on the way. I'm looking forward to Wrestle Kingdom.
Okay.
In January. We have
I feel like WrestleMania is in February?
WrestleMania is in February, yeah.
Okay.
Or March or April. Last week of March, first week of April.
Okay.
It's around the same time as opening day, usually.
Right.
Or the Masters, depending on which week it is. But Wrestle Kingdom, New Japan's build, is starting to happen. Looking forward to that next month, but it's exactly 1 month away. But as of right now, wasn't a huge wrestling week for me, which happens sometimes.
Yeah. Can't be 52 weeks a year.
And then, sometimes it's just not that great.
Yeah.
But it is time for Does This Freak You Out? And I solicited. I said, hey, let's let the listeners pick one.
Oh, no.
And they were interesting. There's interesting. Danny Madaw sent along literally just the Wikipedia page for sleep paralysis.
Oh, man. No, I don't like sleep paralysis.
So, yes, Danny.
Yeah.
We're not going to get into it.
Fuck sleep paralysis.
Are you somebody that's ever experienced sleep paralysis?
No.
Me either. The idea that it exists terrifies
I know
me.
Cassie has, and I know our friend Jacob Kramer has.
Really?
And I watched that documentary about it, though, The Nightmare. It's on Netflix.
Yikes.
Oh, terrifying.
Really?
Terrifying.
Maybe that's the origination of where this message came from.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't like the idea of sleep paralysis. It freaks me out.
Yeah, I sort of can't.
It's the whole idea of like not being in control of your brain or your body. And it's just like, same idea as sleepwalking to me. Also freaks me out really bad.
Huh.
I don't.
Right.
But like just that concept of like your body being conscious when you are not, don't like it. Don't like it.
Maybe we'll just leave it as sleep paralysis because there's another one that
I do have a sleepwalking story though.
Oh, please.
When I was in university, my buddy was crashing on my couch in my shitty little apartment.
I don't
in
like
Montreal.
this one bit.
And so the way the apartment was sort of set up was there was like tiny kitchen, then like a living room, The attached living room was a bedroom. The attached bedroom was the bathroom. So I'm sleeping. We've been at the bar. It's like 3 a.m. I'm asleep and I hear someone walk into my room. And I wake up and I see it's my friend. And I said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he doesn't respond to me. He just kind of does one of those like zombie kind of thing. I'm like, okay. And then I just hear like I'm like, "What's going on?" And he was pissing on my floor.
Oh,
because he was sleep. Like he wasn't it wasn't like I'm drunk. I'm pissing.
For sure.
He was sleepwalking.
Sleep pissing.
And just thought the bathroom was where he was.
Unbelievable.
Then he went back to sleep. And then I got up and woke him. I was like, "Hey man, what the fuck?"
Yeah.
And he had no idea what I was talking about.
That's awful.
Yeah. And like, it wasn't even like, it was kind of funny, I guess, because we were like 20. So whatever.
Yeah. Pissing on the floor at 20 is like,
but it was also like when it wasn't, again, not an issue. Like no harm done. But in retrospect, just like
pretty fucked.
The fact that he had no idea is the part that freaks me out.
I recorded Melissa talking in her sleep the other day.
Oh.
It's scary.
Yeah.
When you're awake and the person you're with has been asleep for like half an hour
and just starts speaking
and then just starts talking like gibberish, it's really weird.
Yeah.
You're just like, what the fuck? And then you can like communicate with them for a little bit before they wake up.
Yep.
You can say what, and they'll sort of repeat themselves, but then it's nothing.
It's nothing.
So they'll half repeat themselves and then they'll mumble into a whole new thing. It was really trippy. I recorded it and showed it to her.
That's excellent.
Yeah. The other one was Ask Jay freaks him out that we reach full growth around age 21. Then we slowly start wearing down.
I mean, I know that.
Yeah. So
no.
Glad we had the sleep paralysis one.
Yeah.
Big save, Danny.
I mean, like I stopped growing.
Tough one, Dave.
I stopped growing when I was like 14. I'm 5'5". Like it's fine.
Maybe I didn't present that as well, and maybe you were a little too mentally jarred by the sleep paralysis.
Yeah, I hate sleep paralysis. It's like the idea of any sort of
sleep disorder.
It's not even just sleep, just like brain body disconnect freaks me out. Like dementia and Alzheimer's are like my biggest fears.
Okay. Yeah, they're bad.
Yeah.
Cool. Here we go. We get into the mailbag.
Let's do it.
James Gleason, what's your favorite part of the holidays? It's a wholesome question.
Food?
Just leave an atomic bomb on deck. Food? That's pretty good.
I guess.
A nice excuse to gorge.
Yeah.
It's going to sound corny. For me, it really is going home and seeing all my family.
I get it. My family's in Toronto, so like I see them all.
Exactly right.
Like it's
as
not
a fairly spread out family, and as somebody who does not have easy access to an automobile.
Yeah, I get that.
The occasion to drive up there and see everybody and spend time with that crew of people is very nice and relaxing.
I get that. Again, I also think my other thing is
makes me feel younger as well.
Yes.
I'm not in that area a lot, so I go back there and I feel 16.
I alluded to it earlier, and I don't know how to accurately describe it, but this time of year does have like a sense and a feeling, and I can't really put it into words, but I think if you know what I mean, you know what I mean.
Yes. It's ineffable.
And I love that. I do quite enjoy that feeling of this time of year.
Christmas spirit's in the air.
Yeah.
Holiday spirit, if you will.
Sure.
Okay, so we have there's some explaining to do with this next one.
Is this Blake's?
This is the
I didn't think we were going to talk about it.
Well,
all right.
This is deep dish pizza, a casserole, or something else entirely? Would you mess with an open-faced chicken pot pie? Now, to set the scene, we were at the bar on Saturday, and Melissa had made a delicious homemade deep dish pizza.
I just want to caveat this. I've been thinking about it for a couple of days.
For sure. How could you not have been thinking about this nonstop?
Yeah. In saying that, in the argument we're about to discuss,
correct.
At no time did I not say it's delicious.
Right. Which I think is an important thing that we did at the time. We'd had a couple drinks.
Yeah.
And I will say, before we get into anything, Blake apologized to me immediately, which is
of course he did.
You understood the same thing that I did, where I was like, I was leaving anyway.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I knew what was happening.
It was my one chance in life to make a scene.
I knew exactly what was happening, and it's fine.
To make a scene and storm out. I was like, this is my opportunity. So I took it. Obviously, an argument about pizza is not that big a deal. What happened was, you dug in, almost as people do. You said pizza is not pizza. Deep dish pizza is not pizza.
Correct.
The next statement was deep dish pizza was lasagna.
Which I will say,
yes.
As I brought up this story to several people this week.
That's the first thing they said.
Yes.
Now, the argument to that was lasagna is a type of noodle.
Which is, I think, a fair argument.
Which is like saying pizza is spaghetti. You just can't.
Yeah. No. Different food groups.
Right. So then I believe it became pizza.
Casserole.
Pizza is a casserole.
Or a pie.
And once we got to pie, I said, yes, it's a pizza pie.
But pizza pie,
right.
I believe, I could be wrong on this.
Sure.
I believe is a like Americanized word for a pizza. Even if it's not.
It's the Italian stereotype on the logo. It's a pizza pie. That's pizza. Right.
Even if it's not, that, which
Right.
I'm just assuming it is based on no evidence.
Right.
I still think that like anyone who's like, oh, like a non-deep dish pizza is a pie,
Right.
comparing it to a like actual pie is insane.
Right. A deep dish pizza is comparable to an actual pie.
Yes,
If you were to make literally,
100%.
if you were to make a pie out of pizza,
it would be a deep dish pizza.
right. So this
Unquestionable.
So this is where things turn. And this is where, and I talked to Clay about this. This is where it,
Oh, also, just for
Yeah.
the record, at the bar,
Yes.
we got Blake to text Joey Cash.
and he said no.
Got a response the next day saying no.
Now, I had Blake on my side at the beginning.
Yep.
And about this point, Blake decided to feed you logic.
Yes. He stirred the pot, as he put it.
Right. So once that happened, I'm like, okay.
It's gone.
If I'm losing Blake and Jake, it's fucking over.
Well, you lose me immediately.
Right.
But like if you lose Blake, it's over.
But I'm doing both. There's no chance for
Yeah,
this
yeah,
argument.
fair.
Anyway, here's where it boiled over on
Well,
my end.
you made a bad point. and
Here's
not
where it boiled
really-
over on my end. You took it to, I mentioned crust being the difference.
You said a pie has a crust.
Yes.
That was your exact term.
Right. And I'm glad we're here because your next point was, then what's the difference between pizza and an open face sandwich?
No, that was not my point.
You got to chicken pot pie later.
No. There was a whole other step that you missed.
Please. Because I'm blanking out.
You,
I remember you getting to open face sandwich.
Yes, we got
and
there.
that was go on.
First, you said, well, it's a pie because it has a crust.
Correct.
To which I said, well, then is bread a pie?
Absurd.
Because has a crust by your logic.
Right. And
Then I said, well, is a sandwich a pie?
Right.
Obviously, it's not.
this is exactly right. Obviously
It's not.
Yeah.
I was more pointing out the fallacies in your logic rather than actually trying to make a point that bread is a pie, which it's not.
I'm glad we got here. Because
I feel like this is where the misunderstanding.
right. No, because I agree with my answer to that point. When you say then bread is pie, the correct answer in rebuttal is fuck you.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
There's no further argument.
No. That's I get that.
Right. If bread is a pie, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. But I was not trying to point out that bread was a pie. I was merely pointing out that your argument that it has a crust, so it's pie,
Right.
is flawed because everything has a crust.
Anyway.
Well, not everything, but lots of things.
The
Gravy has a crust, technically.
long and short of this is that is part of what is wrong with today. Is you don't actually have a take there.
Not really. No.
Exactly right. And then the person
Although I do and have
Right.
and always argue that deep dish pizza is not
right.
pizza.
And
But that's the extent of my take.
it becomes as I accused you of being a flat earth arguer.
You did.
Well, it becomes there's nothing I can throw at you that you will accept, right?
But like likewise,
I guess so, right?
like anything I said, you were like absolutely
Right.
not.
This is the problem. It becomes a point where neither side will ever concede.
You're leaving
a
at
point.
the end of this story too.
I flipped you both off repeatedly.
Grabbed
Both your wrists and raised them in the air and said, "These are the big winners. They won the argument. The big winners. It's an open face sandwich."
Also screaming this in the bar.
100%. Making a point. Yeah, 100%. It's about 11:35 at this point.
Yeah.
We had a pact because when we meet you guys at the Coyote, we leave at 3:30 a.m. every time.
We had also been drinking since like noon.
For sure.
Because Wilson was in town. So we were like,
And your other friends know this. They left at like 11.
oh yeah, Kramer had to work next day. The
Right.
Leafs game ended, he was like, I'm out.
If we go to that bar, excuse me, we're there till 3 every time. We blink and it's 3 a.m. every time.
Yeah.
And we had made a pact that we had to leave by midnight.
Guess what time I left that night?
3 a.m.
There you go.
100%.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter that everybody at the table was like, we need to leave early tonight.
Yep.
And half of them did. Anyway, we had already paid our bill.
Yeah, Wilson told me the next day that he came and stood at our end of the table and realized that it was time for him to go home because we were talking and he was just nodding.
Yes.
Not saying anything. He's like, okay, it's time to go home.
So we nailed it. We had just paid our bill, and I saw in the distance, I was like, this is my chance to make a Steam and Storm out in my life, which I'd never gotten to do. And it was a lot of fun. Blake apologized to me almost immediately.
Yep.
And you didn't. And I was like, Jake understands.
Yeah.
James G, great question. Which of the 4 sports, hockey, basketball, baseball, football, has changed the most over the decade? That's a great question.
Ooh.
I want to say it's the NBA.
I think it is because like
game feels, if you go back and watch.
2010's what, like the Garnett Celtics?
Yeah. If you go back and watch like the first time LeBron is in with the Heat, it's like there's the space. You're like, what are they doing with the spacing? Like, what is this?
Yeah, there was also I think it was Josh Lewinberg's all Raptors team, like the top 25 rap. I forget which, it might have been Anthony Parker's section, but someone from that era.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the press photo was like Anthony Parker raises his hands in the air after a 76-74 win. It's
Crazy. Yeah.
Can you imagine scoring 74 points? The Raptors scored 70 points and a half the other day.
It's wild. There are arguments for all of them. Hockey had a lockout, and it drastically changed the parity in the league.
But that was
a
like
bit of the play style.
But the play style, I think, hockey's change was the last lockout, which was the decade before.
True. Baseball is all home runs and strikeouts now, and that to me is more of a logical extension of the way we were going in 2009.
Yeah,
where
the stats, and the analytics.
In basketball, it just seems like there's a positionlessness to it. The spacing is completely different.
I mean, Ben Simmons and Luka Doncic are point guards.
Yes,
that just doesn't happen.
There's whole types of players that just don't exist anymore. Like you don't dump it into the post and
like flip that around. There's whole types of players that didn't exist 10 years ago.
Yeah, football to me remains mostly the same.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's differences. I don't honestly watch it enough or close enough to know.
Football comes and goes in waves, offense, defense. But I think it is basketball, and I would probably put hockey second.
I think you could make the argument with football that there are, like the NBA, there are types of guys that mostly at the quarterback position, actually only at the quarterback position. Mm-hmm. There are types of guys that like maybe weren't really a thing 10 years ago, but then also like Michael Vick did exist 10 years ago, and so maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah.
I don't watch football enough.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think it's basketball. That's a good question.
It's a great pick. What was your favorite year for music and wrestling in the decade? I guess that's for obvious.
Yeah,
for
split.
Both. Yeah.
Mine for music is either 2010 or 20. Was it 2017? 2016? 2016, I think. 2010 though is I think the best year of the decade.
Right off the top.
Yeah. 2010 was an insane year.
Wow. Well, give me some of the highlights.
2010 was The Monitor by Titus Andronicus. It was High Violet by The National. This Is Happening by LCD Sound System. I think Hot Chip had a record that year. Like a bunch of end of decade list records came out in 2010.
That's cool. I'm going to give wrestling, I'm going to give it 2017. Starts off with Omega.
I'll go back to my list.
Omega Okada 3 starts off the year. You get an unbelievable G1 that year, where the final is Omega against Naito, and that's a classic match. I really that was the year I went from I really cranked it up a notch, I would say, that year. A lot of really great stuff, and even the mainstream stuff there was still plenty of stuff to really enjoy. So I'm going to give it to 2017. A lot of really good stuff. And that was Kenny Omega's real ascent as the greatest in the world at that time. And Okada was very big, and there was a lot of storylines worth following, and it really sort of shaped how the next couple years would happen in wrestling.
Cool.
Next question. Good questions today. And we're both feeling look backy because we did a lot of research.
Yeah.
Marry, fuck, kill, PlayStation 2, GameCube, original Xbox.
That's easy one for me.
Let's hear it.
Marry your PlayStation 2.
Yes.
Too much longevity, too much stuff.
100%.
Fuck the GameCube.
Yeah.
Because it had a couple real strong hits.
Okay.
And just kill the Xbox.
I would have flipped the kill and fuck because I never really played GameCube.
See, I never really played Xbox. So.
There you go. I think that's a generational thing.
Yeah.
Every kid 2 years, 3 years younger than me had GameCube and loved it. And that was
I didn't actually play it till later. My buddy had one.
Yeah.
GameCube has Mario Soccer, and that's the best game ever.
Never really played any GameCube games for any extended period.
That's fair.
This is really gross. We're back to this though. You gotta have one every time.
Yeah.
We talked about the gut clearing dumps.
Of course.
What was the worst place you ever had one? For him, this is Didymus, is in a strip club with the fella there turning on the sink that gives you cologne, listening and smelling all of it.
That's hard to beat.
That's really bad. Strip club diarrhea is I mean
airport diarrhea sucks, but there's still privacy. It's okay.
Unquestionably Greyhound bus.
Oh.
The night
Megabus.
Remember the World Baseball Classic?
When they fought Italy?
Yes. They lost to Italy and they played
2013?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Filippo Mall. Great stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not the right year, but I don't even remember. Anyway.
Pretty sure it's 2013.
Bussing back. I bussed to Guelph, Ontario and back after one of the games and before the next game the next day to hang out with my friends and ate a bunch of weed peanut butter. And let me tell you what you shouldn't do when you've basically poisoned yourself with alcohol and edible marijuana. You shouldn't ride a bus
for 6 hours
back to Toronto.
Yeah.
That's a really bad. That's a really bad time. So I was woken up at the station in the bathroom. That's my end of that story. Someone had to wake me up and tell me we had arrived.
Pants down?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Out. Yeah, could have been a real scene.
I guess mine is
say I didn't do the paint job. Say I didn't do the absolute paint job in the Red Robin bathroom. well. But it's the maid.
Mine is like the houses in Toronto public parks near baseball diamonds.
Yeah.
Greenwood.
That's a bad scene.
Greenwood Park's public bathroom of Riverdale's. Sorry, Riverdale Park North. Whichever the one where the petting zoo is.
Sure.
They have as most cities or parks in Toronto, they have that little house that was built in like 1776 and with 2 bathrooms that are always disgusting and just wet.
Yeah.
Like everything's wet.
It's easier than ever cleaning it.
Yeah. Just hose it down, I guess.
Yeah.
Softball at night, still hungover from the night before.
It's a bad scene.
Probably ate, had those. The thing about hangover food is it always makes you just like,
of course.
Oh, I'm going to shit forever.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then do that and then you're going to play softball.
Really
and it's
bad.
like, you're on the field. It's like, oh, I got to run to this wet room.
That's bad. That's bad.
Yeah. Yours is worse.
Yeah. It was a bad scene. Sean K has a great question. If you had to wipe your brain and forget every memory attached to one of the following, Mats, Lowry, or Batista, who do you choose? The team's success is not altered. Unfortunately.
It's got to be Mats.
Fortunately, it has to be Mats.
It has to be Mats because that team, who cares, really?
Some great moments, but you just can't get rid of Lowry and
Batista and Lowry have like life-defining
Too
memory.
iconic. It's too iconic.
Like it's 2 memories that are like 2 of my favorite memories and most fun I've had in my life. Mats, I also think could be an age thing, but also Matt, like they didn't do anything. Like what? I forget Matt scoring a goal in overtime in round 1.
Yeah.
Like
Sundin Ping's a pretty good one. Anyway.
That's what I was thinking, but like whatever. You're comparing that to bat flip or winning a title? Absolutely not.
Totally. Most exciting transaction of the week. I think maybe Mike Moustakas getting 4 years from the Reds.
That's a good one.
To play second base. Let's shake things up. That wouldn't have happened last year.
Probably won't happen the rest of this year.
Yeah. Maybe Pilar getting non-tendered. I think that's funny.
That's my favorite.
That one's funny. I think, not just for the Jays fans being like, trade's not so bad, but also like Giants fans being like, what?
Also like,
it's like, did you not know?
Also like justification from years of like you and I being like, hey, you know who fucking sucks?
Yeah.
Come on, people are like, but he's Superman.
It is crazy
like,
that he led them in fucking everything last year.
Yes, but also the Giants were extremely bad.
That would have never happened a couple years ago. He had like 25 home runs and 80 RBIs, and they're like, nah, don't need it.
Well, when you swing at everything, you know.
James Nielsen, what mode of transportation do you enjoy most, and what do you find the most fascinating?
Fascinating.
I find subway systems in good cities really fascinating.
Yeah, like a you know what? We should on the Boston's whole transit thing. Like
yeah.
They have these basically streetcars that are also subways. Like they go above ground on and you can get on them like a streetcar in the city, but then they also go underground to stations.
Sure.
That's like
light rail.
That's amazing to me.
Yeah. Any like high speed train, like Europe's obviously high speed trains as well.
Oh, Japanese bullet trains.
Yeah.
Those are fascinating.
Makes a lot of sense infrastructure wise.
Yeah. It's like you just get anywhere.
So I think I find that, I guess I enjoy it the most. It's tough. I really
train is the answer for what I enjoy the most.
Right. And you find it the most fascinating?
Certain kinds of, I don't think the subway is that interesting, but
right.
Light rail or bullet train, that's interesting.
I sincerely do enjoy driving, but it's one of those things. It's only because I don't drive all the time. I'm sure if I drove all the time, I'd feel nothing.
I don't know how. So.
Makes me feel 17.
I guess that's fascinating. I don't know how everyone's not killing each other constantly.
A lot of people are.
Yeah, it's true. City's poison.
It makes me feel 17, so I enjoy that much about it. But then after a couple days, it wears off.
Yeah,
but
I can see that.
First, getting behind the car and driving in like a highway, open roads near my hometown.
I find ferries really interesting. I was thinking about this yesterday. I was walking by the waterfront yesterday and saw just like a parked ferry. And I was like, this is just a giant boat that goes 3 miles. And that's its route. Seems like a waste.
We're rounding up. We have
a bridge.
Couple questions about Christmas songs here. I'll put them together. Danny asks the top couple Christmas songs every year, and Kara asks the worst Christmas song of all time.
Oh, so Kara asked this because we had an argument with this at the bar before we came to meet you guys.
Jake, how much of your life is digging in on arguments you don't actually
This
care?
wasn't digging in. This was this was an opinion of the group. My opinion was that Wonderful Christmas Time, Paul McCartney, is the worst Christmas song.
That was the first thing in my head.
Yeah. And
it's garbage.
Kara, Kramer, and Wilson disagreed with me, which is insane because it's a terrible fucking song. We also found a cover of John Lennon's Christmas song, but by Train.
We know Christmas Shoes is obviously on there, but it's almost played. It's so bad.
War is Over, Christmas Whatever by John Lennon, but covered by Train. That seems like it would be up there.
Mm-hmm.
Best, I really like Blink-182's Christmas song, which I know is a shock.
Bare Naked Ladies has a jaunty little...
Yeah. It's weird that you and I went to Bare Naked Ladies. Oh, by the way, Wilson did ask me to tell you that his favorite thing about you is your pure, unabashed love for the Bare Naked Ladies Greatest Hits album. The
Greatest Hits album is like, what are you going to do? It's bangers.
Yeah.
I want to say Carol with the Bells. There's a Christmas song that's specifically named Satan that I've always really respected.
All right.
Tidings of Comfort and Joy. That one.
That seems too real a Christmas song for me to know what it is.
Because they literally, God rest ye, merry gentlemen. That's what it is. They literally mentioned that Jesus' whole thing is to kill Satan. I think that's pretty cool.
I like that.
It's pretty cool that you would name Satan.
Yeah.
And I believe Ronnie James Dio does a cover of that.
Yeah, I'm into that. They Might Be Giants have a song called Santa's Beard that I really like. Very old, but very fun.
I mean, it's also Buble Time O'Clock. That's where we're at.
That's that time of year.
It's Buble time. Yeah, you know. I don't usually go out of my way to listen to Christmas music.
No, never.
I don't find that you have to.
No, you just walk into any store.
People do that for you. So
yeah.
There's ones that I like more or less. Last one. It's similarly Christmas themed. We got a whole month left.
Yeah, but we're not going to be here on Christmas.
True, that's a good point. Chris Hawken, of the 12 days of Christmas, what is the best and worst gift?
So we got doves. Trollops? What are they? Not trollops.
Trollops. We get partridge in a pear tree, obviously.
Right. That's a bird, yeah. 2
turtle doves.
A partridge is also a bird?
Yeah, that's right.
So 3 birds.
Yeah, a lot of doves out of the hold on, let me pull this up here.
Yeah. You don't know.
Nobody listens to stuff for real. Third day of Christmas. There's 5 golden rings. Hard to beat 5 golden rings. Right?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's pretty damn good.
So that's expensive.
Can I just get a fucking list? What's the deal here? 5 golden rings is super deep.
Here we go. Oh,
you got it?
No, maybe. Here we go. Here's the lyrics.
Thank you.
Partridge in a pear tree, 2 turtle doves, 3 French hens, 4 calling birds. So just 7 birds.
So out of the gate, lots of birds.
7 birds.
Don't want birds.
5 golden rings, 6 geese, more birds. Who wants
swans as well? Yeah.
Who wants 6? Yep, 7 swans. 8 maids a milking. Does that?
Yeah.
Milking the cows.
So I'm really happy.
Do the cows come with the maids?
I'm happy to say that for me, it's either drummers or rings.
9 ladies dancing. That doesn't seem like a gift.
That's not so bad.
10 lords a leaping. Also, 11 pipers piping seems loud.
So it turns into a party.
12 drummers drumming. Yeah.
Right. 9 to 12 is a party.
It's just a bunch of people with instruments and dancing, and also way too many birds.
So a bunch of birds.
The only answer is the rings, unless you want a bunch of birds.
I'll say this: the rings is the only one that don't make any sense. You can tell a story with the rest of them, right? So you bring in a bunch of birds, you eat them.
Or you say, or you have them hanging around.
Yeah. Then all of a sudden there's drinks with the maids milking, and then the last 4 people are just partying.
And dancing and playing.
And then there's 5 golden rings for some reason. I'm going to go with the golden rings.
I'm going to definitely go with the golden rings because who wants all these birds?
Piper's piping also up there.
That seems loud. You know what bagpipes sound like? You don't want 11.
For sure.
You want 11 people playing bagpipes at a party?
It's the holidays.
No. Do you know what one bagpipe sounds like? You don't need 11.
Lots of different uses for pipe. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it is a party.
Yeah, exactly right. I'm going to go with geese a-laying as what I want. What do I want the least?
Absolutely.
Or calling birds.
Geese. Geese suck.
Yeah, geese a-laying, no thank you. Anyway.
Wait, which ones are the shitty ones? Geese or swans? Swans are shitty too.
They're all...
It's too many birds.
I'm putting birds on notice.
Yeah.
Don't need you. Don't need you. Don't need birds. Give me a bird we need.
Yeah, not just loud, shitty ones.
No, thank you.
Not a useful bird in the bunch.
No, don't need them. Birds, don't need them. And that's it, the mailbag. We don't need birds. I'm glad with how civilly we resolved the pizza thing.
Yeah, especially compared to where we left it.
Well, you know, we both obviously thought about it for 5 days straight.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Nothing to do but wrap it up. We have Sad Not Sad and a bunch of other stuff. After this... baby. This show flew by.
Sure did.
We just had a lot of fun. That was just a fun one. There was nothing serious about this one.
I spent the last 10 minutes trying to find my Facebook notes and where they are now so I could look at what music year was the best, and now it's too late. I just found them.
A reminder, we were drinking Radical Road Brewery this time. We drank the 4-track, the Session IPA, 4%, the little brother of the 8-track. Juicy hop flavor, lighter body, light alcohol content. RadicalRoadBrew.com for more information. You can head over there to the brew pub and the retail shop at Queen and Jones. Stop in the heart of Leslieville, 7 days a week, 363 days a year until 11 p.m. each evening. We're going to be drinking the Yuzu Pale Ale, the Key West Lime Ghost, the Go for Broke Keller Beer, and of course the 4-track. We have 4 beers for the 4 weeks of December. We are going to enjoy from Radical Road Brewery. That's Queen Street and Jones, 7 days a week. Jake, it's time for Sad Not Sad. I'll lead us off because I feel like I've been passing the buck a lot lately.
That's fine.
Not sad.
Yay.
Obviously, last week I was sad, and I laid out the reasons why. And many, many people have reached out to be very nice to me.
Oh, that's good.
And I think, and this, I want to bring this back to our audience, to people who listen to Sportsfeld, people who are listening to this right now. Sometimes in the business of making content, you get obsessed with numbers, right?
Oh, I'm literally not allowed to look at them for this show.
Right.
After week 1, you're like, Jake, no. And
the numbers for any show I've ever done or anything I've ever produced, whether it be page views or video views or audio listens or anything, there's always this obsession with that number being higher and higher and getting as high as possible, or the number's too low, or all those things, right? But just a moment to appreciate that, each one of those is a person who is out there doing stuff and chooses to listen or watch or engage or read something that I create is unbelievable. Truly.
Yeah,
it's
I get
truly unbelievable that people listen to this show and get to this part and are like, I want to hear what they have to say. It's just amazing. And every one of the people that contributes to every one of those numbers is not lost on me, that you willingly make me part of your consumption of sports, which is crazy. And I appreciate it very deeply. And it means a lot to me that so many people would reach out and say such nice things, because it got a little unnecessarily fatalistic last time.
But I mean,
things are not so bad.
But also that happens, right? It's not when you get knocked down by shit like that. You're allowed to be fatalistic. That's just what happens. But
people have been very nice, and I really appreciate it. And we continue forward. We continue to make things and to try stuff and to hope that it's better every time. Jake, are you sad or not sad?
I'm not sad.
Yeah, we did it.
I had a really, really lovely weekend. My friend Andrew...
Getting flipped off and yelled at?
Getting flipped off and yelled at by a good friend of mine. My friend Andrew's in town this weekend, and...
We love Wilson.
We all love Wilson. He lives in Ottawa, so he's not always in town a lot, and he's about to have a child. So this is probably the last time I'll see him for a few months. But it was just a really nice weekend. We went record shopping. We ate some good food, drank some beer, went to a show. It was just a fun hangout weekend of just got to see everyone in my close friend group this weekend, which was nice.
That's cool.
And even Friday night when we were hanging out without Wilson, just hanging at Josh and Aaron's, was just a nice.
I 2 days off and I went out both nights.
Yeah, just a nice. Even though you were in bed as a human being on Friday. Just showed up oh, Zubes is really tired.
Hey, I
go to bed.
I played that game though.
You did. It was a great time.
Nailed that.
Great time.
I've been less mentally aware in that apartment than that. How about that?
With more people around.
Yeah. That's right.
But no, it was just a really nice friend weekend that I really enjoyed. And it's not that I'm finding as I get to a certain age, all weekends are kind of fine. You always see some people you like and hang out, and it's, it's hard recently to have a terrible weekend kind of thing.
I feel you.
But this was just a really nice one, and I really had a good time. And it filled me with all sorts of flutterings and whatnot.
Look at that. We love friendship and love.
Yeah.
That's easy.
They're great stuff.
And that's it. That's all we have to do now is say some thank yous. Thank you to Dylan for doing all the actual work, to Sean and Clay for setting us up here, to the intern in the box for taking all the notes. I thank you, Jake, for being on the show. And we thank you very much for listening to Sportsfeld.
Sportsfeld!